Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people like to listen? How do I make money from my podcast? Well, the answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. When I started using Anchor to do my podcast, it was so extremely easy that I haven't even bothered to look for another app to use. I love this app. It's the only one I deal with, the only one I even recommend, period. I recommend you get on there ASAP. If you want to start a podcast, this is definitely the place to go. It's easy. You can drive around and record. You can sit in your basement and record. You can do it anywhere. It's fantastic. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast, make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start, anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. Hey, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Adam Rich from the Really Rich Podcast, and I have been on quite the little hiatus lately with this. Everything's been down, and I've been doing stuff around the house and just spending time with the family and just enjoying some stuff. I probably should have been pounding out a little bit more, podcast action, but I've just been busy with getting other projects started and working on stuff. So I apologize for all the listeners that why it's been, damn near 2 weeks or so since my last show. But I'm back. I'm doing regular. We're back to the regular routine again. So with that being said, what I have noticed in this couple weeks or whatever that I've had off is that I'm looking at social medias, man. I'm looking at all of them: Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, just Twitter, everything. Just looking at what people are during this time. What are people posting? Why are people posting? What is the actual intention and the message of what you're trying to send? Because I see a lot of stuff. I see that people are posting, I'm so bored, I can't wait till society gets back to normal and all this stuff. And then I hear other people posting about how awful they think the president is or how good they think the president is. Then I see other people posting about how their governor is awful, especially in Michigan. If you're in Michigan, our governor is just the way she's been handling things. It's people are super anti-government right now. And I've noticed it's just the majority of posts you see are negative. And, that might be the case normally anyway. That might, most times people are posting, it's either to prove some kind of a point or it's to complain about somebody else's point of view. If somebody says, I like Trump, then somebody else is spending their next 24 hours making memes and posts blasting Trump. And it's like, the whole point that I wanted to get at with this message was, why are you posting? When you do put up a post or a comment on somebody else's post, or even comment on your own post or whatever, ask yourself this: what exactly are you posting for? What is it? What is the message that you're trying to display? What is the actual reason behind why you're putting anything out in the first place? I'm very, I don't post 7 posts a day or whatever. I don't post a ton of stuff, which I know I should. It's good for advertising purposes and things like that. But really, man, I need, maybe I'm weird when it comes to this stuff, the posting, the social media, but I need breaks. I need a mental break away from what social media has to offer sometimes. And so I don't post every single day continuously. And that holds me back, I know, when it comes to advertising or trying to get my name out there. But here's the thing. Anyone that knows me or knows my actual intentions, when I put stuff out, I only put out when I feel like putting stuff out, or when I or when I think that it's very beneficial for what's actually happening. Like, for instance, I don't just keep putting posts out to try to draw people to my podcast. That's what a lot of people do. And I'm not knocking it if that's what you want to do. If you want to put out a ton of advertisement for your stuff, that's good. I get it. I understand why people are doing it. But at the same time, people will know in the long term, like down the road, I want to know for myself, and I want the audience or the fans or whoever to know down the road that when I put stuff out, it wasn't fake, it wasn't bullshit, it wasn't manipulation, it wasn't advertisement trying to, like, you know how many people I see putting out posts for their podcasts that are strictly all about, hey, if you sign up for this, or if you pay for this, you'll be invited to my exclusive blah blah blah. And it's like, dude, no, like, people are starting to see through that stuff. I know I am. So I don't know how long it's going to be before everyone just across the board just doesn't buy into this shit anymore. Like, if you see something posted from me, it's legitimate. It's how I feel. It's what I want to put out. It's what I want to help people with. It's something that I'm hoping is beneficial as a whole. I don't just put out shit just to constantly remind people that I have a podcast just to draw people to go listen to it. I want people to listen to it. And I do think advertising is good. I think it's smart, but I also think that sometimes advertising can be very fake. I think that sometimes when people put out certain posts or comments on Twitter or on YouTube, anywhere, that ultimately they have an ulterior motive. They have a plan. They have a secret thing. And listen, when I socialize with people, it's purely me trying to talk to people. It's not me trying to weasel you into some program of mine. It's not me trying to lure you to my website. It's not me trying to draw you into, or, to push my podcast on people. I think that the information that I put out in the stuff that I'm trying to tell people with is very beneficial for them. I think it's helpful. You don't have to agree. That's fine. But I think anyone that listens to this, I don't think anyone listens to this with the intention of, wow, this is going to be a bunch of bullshit again today. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that that's why people are listening. I think people know that you can just tell that where somebody's actual intention is based on how they talk, what they're talking about, and eventually what it is each party is getting in return. Like, think about this. My podcast is free. Nobody's paying for nobody's paying for a subscription to my shit or anything like that. Nobody's making me rich by listening to my podcast. It's 100%. You can listen to it 100% for free, whether on YouTube, Spotify, anything, right? So you can listen to all this for free, and I'm putting out information. I'm spending my time giving this information. So I'm not getting anything in return from it. So when I put stuff out for people, you have to understand that the intentions are pure. I'm not getting anything. I would tell you if I am. I have the option to have a Patreon service. I'm going to be 100% upfront with you. I have the option to have a Patreon service. I've never once asked anybody to sign up for it. And nobody has signed up for it. I'm telling you right now. And I know that a lot of people that podcast and stuff thinks that's stupid of me to tell people that nobody has signed up for it. And they think that it's stupid because this is how transparent I am. When people try to say that my intentions are not pure, that you can go fuck yourself, because I'm showing you. Here, nobody is signed up for the Patreon yet. I've never asked anybody to. Would it be awesome if people did? Sure. But I'm not asking you to. So don't feel pressured. Don't feel like you have to. Don't feel like you should. Don't feel like it's a necessity. You don't have to. Everything I'm telling you is free. Why it's free is because I'm not trying to put out information to get paid. I'm trying to put out information because I think that it's fucking helpful. And there's a lot of people out there that desperately need the help, that not just that I can give or whatever. I'm not trying to put myself on some pedestal like I'm the man. What I'm saying is I know that I've had great mentors and teachers and role models to look up to that have given me plenty of good, amazing, wonderful advice that has been helpful for me in my life throughout the course of my existence. And I know that they've also taught me a lot of things that you just don't hear every day from a lot of people for whatever reason. And I want to be the one that puts out this information. I want to help people get this kind of information because it has helped me tremendously. So I could be a dick and say, hey, I'm going to offer you a couple little bits of information, and if that works, then please buy my program where I give you the other secrets. I could use that snake oil salesman tactic like a lot of the guys out there are doing, but I don't want to. I'm not asking for nothing in return. So bottom line is, I'm receiving zero from the audience as far as financial or, incentive or anything like that. And all I'm doing is I'm putting out information for free. So you can't come back later to me and say that my intentions are to weasel people or manipulate people or do this. I'm not getting anything. You know what I mean? So I want this to be said. I'm saying it out loud, even though it's probably not, helpful for me to admit these things out loud, but I'm showing consistently over and over and over and over and over that I'm being A, transparent, B, honest, C, upfront about everything. I'm not trying to hide anything. Like, I'm not trying to, there is no evil intention. And I think if you want to try to find one, please do, and let me know what you think it is, and I will gladly have a discussion with you about it. What, live in front of other people? I'll do it privately. I don't care. I just want, the ultimate goal is for me to put out factual, like life-altering in a good way, information for people that is helpful. It's not about money for me. It's about, in 20 years, somebody telling me that I changed their life in the best way because they listened to information that they got from me. Like, that means more to me than any dollar amount. It really does. So if you want to be helpful, I'm not asking you to get me some Patreon thing. I'm not asking you to send me money. I'm not asking you to buy any products or anything like that. All I ask is that if I have given you some form of information, some form of, maybe a missing link in what you were thinking, like something that just brought everything together and changed the way you look at something. If I've said anything that's been helpful to you, then all I'm asking from you is to just let other people know that this was helpful, that I said something helpful. I'm not asking you to pay for anything. I'm not asking you to tell them to pay for anything. I just want the legacy of knowing that I know that the information that I give out is good because it's worked for me. I know I watched it firsthand. I'm not giving out any information of shit I don't know what I'm talking about or that I haven't lived. I only talk about things that I feel very comfortable with, that I know a lot about, and that are beneficial, that actually work, that are factual. I don't like putting out BS. I'm not a rah-rah guy. I mean, I do like to uplift. I do like to make things more positive. I do like to have people see a positive side of life. But at the same time, I'm not just out here trying to motivate you to be happy like a cheerleader. I'm trying to motivate you to be happy permanently, for good, to live your life, to know certain things to do, certain things not to do, certain ways of thinking, certain ways to definitely not think. And ultimately, I just want your life to be good. I want more people to be happy. There's so many fucking miserable people out there because they've listened to bad advice over and over, or they haven't gotten the right information. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. Like in high school, right? I had to ask to take an elective class. It wasn't a mandatory class. I had to ask to take an elective class to learn about entrepreneurship, to learn how to run a business, to learn how to run a company or start a business. It wasn't something that is taught to every kid. It wasn't part of our mandatory scheduled learning. It was an elective. I had to opt to choose, to make that decision of, do I want to learn how to run a company or just be a worker? School teaches you how to become a worker. It does not teach you how to run a business. It does not teach you how to save money. It does not teach you how to balance a budget. It doesn't teach you anything important about your finances unless you opt for the elective classes. And even then, it's one class. It's not like a whole field. It's not like a whole, when you learn math every year throughout your entire school like kindergarten through seniors, you're basically learning different types of math. You don't do that with finances. You don't do that with savings and investing in business ownership and things like that. We only teach people how to go get into a system to be a worker. And it's sad. So I don't like doing that. I don't like the fact that, that school doesn't really prepare you very well unless you ask for it. Like this should just be things that, school should be teaching you these important, valuable things all along, but they don't. So I got lucky and I had parents and, people around me that I followed that actually were good with their money and took care of it, and they trained me and they taught me. So what I do now is I try to help other people learn financial advice and things like that. I don't have a degree. I'm not a financial advisor, so to speak, but I've learned from very, very good trainers and things that like the proper way to save and invest and what to look for, how to like watch the market, I've learned a ton through people, not through school. So I don't want to sit here and act like, school is where you get all your information. You don't. And that's what made me want to put out information like this to help people. There's been lots of things that I've learned from other people, not school, that has helped me in life that you just don't hear every day. So when I put stuff out, when I put posts, when I put comments, when I do that, my intention is always, how is this going to help the person that may read this? Like, it's never about, when I was younger, I used to be on social media and I would attack, things that I didn't like, or somebody would talk bad about my football team and I would attack them and be like, oh, you suck, or whatever, and that's not helpful. That's not helpful for anybody. I got to a point in my mid to late 20s where I was like, you know what? I really, really want to use this information to help other people gain it. I want other people to see what I've seen. I got lucky. Listen, I'm an only child, basically. I have 2 half-sisters. I get into that later. I never lived with them, though, so I basically was an only child my whole life. My dad and mom were amazing at teaching me about life. They taught me about things that school doesn't teach you about. And I got lucky that I had them teaching me, because school didn't. School would have misinformed me, miseducated me, and misprepared me like it does for so many other people. So when I put things out, when I post, when I comment, my intentions always are, how can I help somebody? How can I help them gain knowledge that could be beneficial for them that they might not have had? And listen, it's not like every time I put out a post, every single person that reads it is like, wow, this is new. Like, some things people know, some things people don't. So I'm asking you, what is your intention when you post? Why do you put stuff out? Is your intention, do you comment on somebody's post because you don't like what they posted and you just want to prove them wrong, or you want to attack them? Or are you or when you do comment, do you comment tactfully, with empathy, with kindness, with honest, truthful information that could be helpful? Because I find that that's so much better. I used to comment on people I didn't agree with. I used to comment and, basically attack the person's view, or I would attack their statement or things like that. But the bottom line is, when you come in aggressive, when you come in an attack mode, people don't listen. They don't respond to that. They sense the hatred, they sense the anger, they sense the jealousy and all those things. And they're not going to listen to that because they think that you're coming from a bad place. So they're not going to listen to your emotional overreaction anyway. But now if you were to come at it from an angle that is empathetic to the person, like, listen, I can see why you would think this, or I can see why people believe this, but actually, if you see this, or if this happens, then this will happen. And you need to have empathy with the person, even if they're shitty towards you. Because that's what I've learned. Listen, I post some stuff on TikTok and things about Christianity, about the Bible, about Jesus, about things like that. And not everything. Not my entire TikTok's not all biblical stuff, but there are some stuff that I put out there because the only stuff I talk about are things that are proven to be true, or there's historical validity to it, or there's documentation, things like that. And these people, because they don't believe in God, they just will unleash fury on you. Like one guy, I put out a post, and this guy's only response, he didn't have anything to comment or anything to say about what I said. All he wrote was, you need to stop drinking paint. That's all he said, right? And I laughed as soon as I seen that because I was like, the first thought I had, I almost responded. I never responded to the guy, full disclosure. I never did respond because it's meaningless to even, you're so far apart on the issue, obviously. If the person can't give you at least information or facts or something to back up why he doesn't believe what you're saying, they're probably far apart from agreeing with you. And so anyhow, when he said that, my first thought was I should write back and say, well, that was a very intelligent response or something, something along those lines. But I didn't respond at all. I didn't say anything. I just left it alone. And that's the thing though, that you're going to deal with that. Like when you post something, especially if you're posting from a place of, a feeling or your opinion, and there's no evidence to back up, your opinion, then you're going to get attacked. Like if you say right now, I hate Trump or I love Trump, and you put that post out, somebody is going to like your post. Somebody's going to love your post. Somebody's going to laugh. Somebody's going to comment and say, yeah, I know what you mean. I hate him too, or I love him too. But then you're also going to get the other side. You're going to get somebody who emotionally can't handle that you just said that, and then they're going to attack the other way. And it happens all the time, both on the left and the right. And it's sad because, listen, you know how many posts I scroll by and I see, somebody will say, like, I love this person or I hate this person or this person's stupid, this person's not. And it's like your instinct is to be like, no, I don't agree. Let me straighten this person out. But then you also have to remember to pick your battles, because some of these battles aren't worth even getting into. Listen, if your goal is to just argue with that person because you don't like that person or you don't like what they have to say, then, feel free. Do whatever you got to do. Comment, honestly, I think eventually you'll see it's going to be a waste of your time. But if you feel strongly enough about responding, then go ahead. But you also, I would try to, for instance, instead of attacking somebody's post because you don't agree with it, what I think is more helpful, or at least it makes you seem like a better person and it at least gets your point across, is if instead of going onto their post and attacking their post, maybe you should just make your own post displaying the other side of the argument, the disagreement of it. If somebody says, Trump is the greatest president ever, and you don't think so, and you hate his guts, instead of going on their post and attacking Trump for why you hate him, maybe you should make your own post about why you don't like him, and maybe you should at least include some facts. Or the opposite. If you love Trump and somebody's saying that they hate him and he's the worst person ever, maybe you should, instead of going onto their post and trying to argue, because listen, the majority of the people that comment are they're either going to be A, somebody that agrees with the post, or B, somebody who just loves trolling, somebody who just wants to start a fight and just argue. Because think about it, dude. If, I'm a Detroit Lions fan because I grew up in Detroit, blah, blah, blah. I got friends that live around the same area as me, and they're not Detroit Lions fans. They're like a Packers fan, a Green Bay Packers fan, right? Well, I could put out a post about the Lions, and then this person will put out or will comment on my post about why they suck. And it's like, listen, most people that are going to comment on that Lions post are probably going to be Lions fans. And even the ones that aren't, if you're not a Lions fan, normally, and it didn't matter to you if it wasn't a big emotional issue for you, you would just scroll by it. You would be like, oh, okay, whatever. You might think the person's an idiot. You might think the post is stupid, blah, blah, blah. But you're just going to keep scrolling. You're not going to waste a lot of time with it. Now, if you're a troll, then you're going to waste lots of time of your life just dogging people on their posts. And listen, it's a free world. In America, it's a free country. You have the opportunity to troll or agree with anyone's post at any time. If you want to live the type of a life where you want to be a troll, be my guest, but don't think that you're building any kind of a good reputation or any kind of credibility. Nobody looks at a troll and says, you know what, this guy's got some good points. No, a troll is called a troll for a reason. Trolls are hideous. Trolls are gross. They're ugly. They're nobody likes them. Nobody, they're not, it's not like the cute little trolls from the cartoons. Troll, look up the definition of a troll. And I'm not even talking about the internet troll. Like, just in general, trolls are not favorable, cute things. They're ugly things that you don't want to be associated with for the most part. And that's what you're doing. If you want to go on somebody's post to blast them, then that's trolling. But if you want to make your own post, which this to me is the most beneficial way to go, make your own post with your own view and give reasons for why you feel the way you feel. At least that way you can put out the, basically the selling points as to why you came to the conclusion that you did. If you think that the Detroit Lions are the greatest organization in the world, A, I think you're wrong, but B, no, like you better have some at least either emotional attachment, you better say that, you better have some facts to back that up. Like, it's easy to say that the Boston Red Sox or the New York Yankees are a phenomenal organization. They've been very good for decades, okay? They have facts to back that up. That doesn't mean you have to like them. You can hate their guts. Boston fans hate New York. New York hates Boston. It's common, it's normal. But when you're going to sit there and say, like, that... if you try to put out a post and you're like, I hate Trump because he's an idiot, and then somebody's like, well, what did he do that was stupid? And then you respond with, well, look at him, he's a fucking idiot. That's not an actual answer. That's an emotional answer. That's your opinion based on your emotion towards him. Now, if you were to say, I love Trump, and then somebody's like, why? And you're like, well, he's done great things with minorities. He's done great things with women. He's done great things like financial, like for the country. If you name certain things that people could actually look up and see are factual, then you start being able to say, okay, listen, I might not agree, but I see why that person is saying it at least. But trolls will still find a way to ignore facts and go straight on emotion only. That's what trolls do. They don't look at facts. They look like, listen, I've been a Detroit Lions fan my entire, as long as I can remember, just because I grew up here. But I'm not going to sit here and try to bullshit you that they're a phenomenally ran organization loaded with talent that's known to be a great team. They're not. They've won one playoff game in 62 years, I think it is now. And they, lots of time, more times than not, they have a losing record. I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you they're a phenomenal team with a great organization, because they're not. But I can emotionally tell you I love them and that I have an attachment to them because they're the team that I grew up loving, because this is the area I grew up living in. And then you'd be like, oh, okay, I don't agree that they're a great organization, but I do see why this guy loves them. And then maybe you're not going to get trolled for something like that. But if you go on there and you say the Lions are the greatest organization and your team sucks, now you're just asking for trolls. So you really have to decide before you post or comment on anything. When I put this comment out or this post out, what is my actual intention for doing it? What am I trying to accomplish with this? And some people just post because they like something. Listen, I've seen pictures on social media, things that I thought were hilarious, they were funny, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to copy that picture and I'm going to put it on my wall. Not because I agree or disagree, not because it's my own original art or anything like that, but sometimes you just see things that are funny and you want to just throw something funny on your wall to display your sense of humor. Now, some people may agree, some people may not, but you need to weigh this up. Is this how important is, what you're posting? What is your intention behind it? Because there's so many people that don't think. You don't think about the long-term effect. 10 years from now, what's going to be acceptable and what isn't. You look at Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart posted something on Twitter or whatever, back in 2011 or 12, and then in 2018 and 19, he's getting in trouble for it. And it's like, dude, first off, it was a different time. When I went to school, and I'll give you an example. When I went to school, I graduated in 2001. In the year 2000, now people don't think about how quickly things changed, but in 2001, when I graduated, if somebody openly admitted to being gay in 2001, mind you, it was very, very tough for them. People were a lot of gay guys in my high school would lie about it. They wouldn't admit it. And if they got caught being gay, they'd get beat up. Not by everybody, but like some people wanted to beat up gay people. It was stupid, but the reality is that was in 2001, dude. Like if you said a slur towards gay people in 2001, almost everybody was like, yeah, I get it. But now it's so unacceptable to say a slur about race, about sexual preference. Even it's getting so bad to the point where you can't even like talk about transgender. You can't even say that there's only two genders without it possibly offending somebody, even though for the entire history of time, we've only looked at male and female as the only two genders. Now, all of a sudden, in the last 5 years, it's like if you say there's only two genders, you're like verbally assaulting somebody. And my point is this, times change. You don't know what your post is going to mean in 10 years or 20 years, but you're going to be attached to it regardless. The internet's out there. Everything is right out there. You can find I can find a Twitter post from somebody back when the day Twitter opened, the day Twitter first started. Like, they're out there. They're still out there. So if you said, I hate all Jews or Mexicans or white people or anything, if you said that like in 20 years ago, one, it was more accepted to be able to say that with zero repercussions. It still isn't nice. It still wasn't looked at as, yeah, that guy's my hero for saying he hates gay people or whatever. But like you could say stuff. And like I said, if you were gay 20 years ago, a lot of people were getting beat up. They didn't even want to come out of the closet. Like this whole coming out of the closet and admitting to being gay thing is super new. Like within the last decade and a half, max. So you can't just assume that if I put out a picture or put out a meme that says white people are silly, how do we know that in 20 years it's not looked at as like heavily racist to call white people silly? I don't know. And that sounds silly to even say, but you don't know. It's just, dude, in the 70s, listen, there's TV shows that were on regular TV channels, like regular networks, that were saying the N-word in the show towards a black person, and the black person, the actor, sat there and like, it was fine to hear. Like, the guy went through the scene being called the N-word, and that show continued on the air. It's weird. Like, that's weird to me. But that was the 70s, dude. In the 70s, people were calling black people the N-word all the time, and nothing was being done about it. Now, if somebody even says, like, what's that NASCAR guy? He's like half Japanese. He just said the N-word, like, and it wasn't even in a racially, like, mean way. He just said the word. And he loses his fucking partnership, his contract. He loses his endorsements. He lost it all for something. And this dude's not even white. I mean, he's like half white, half Japanese or something like that, I think he is. So, but dude, my point is, man, times you don't know, the things that you say today might not be okay at all. Like, dude, I have to worry about some of the shit that I've said in my podcast. They might ban swearing in 20 years. In that case, my entire podcast is off the air. So, I'm just saying, guys, make sure your intent is pure when you post something. Make sure that in 20 years, somebody can't come back to you and say that this is wrong. If you're posting saying, I love all people, I don't know how in 100 years somebody could come back and be like, look at how messed up this guy is. Look at, he's evil. Take him down. You know, like, it's just, people, be very careful about what you post. I know sometimes you post funny shit just to be fun. I did too. I'm sure there's some posts that I have out there that are going to get me in some serious trouble if they come out today. But reality is, my intentions were never bad. When I put something out, it was always more for a laugh. And so if in 20 years it comes back and they say, you know, you did something wrong here, well, then I'm going to be just as guilty as the rest of you or as anybody else. But now I make sure that all of my posts, all of my intentions are always good when I put something out, because I don't want somebody to be able to twist it, change it, make me look bad later. I'm only trying to put out positive, helpful information. And I wish that everyone would start thinking about that when they're putting their own posts up. Like, really debate with yourself, is what I'm talking about Or is what I'm posting about, is what I'm commenting about, does it matter? Do I need to do this? Is it going to be helpful? What's the intention behind this? Am I just trying to get a rise out of somebody? Am I just trying to attack this person because I don't even like the person? Am I just trying to attack the post because I don't like their opinion? They differ than they're a right winger and I'm a left winger, so I don't want to agree or F that person. Like, what are your intentions? Stop trolling, because all it's doing is wasting your time. Doesn't make you look like, trust me, nobody looks at trolls and says, damn, I want to be just like that when I get older or when I grow up. Nobody does. Nobody is jealous of a troll. Nobody envies a troll. When you finally become exposed for the troll that you are, your credibility, your reputation is just fucked. So don't do that. Just don't be like that. Really be thoughtful with every post you put out. You want to put out a funny post? Do that, dude. But you better make sure that it doesn't say any words that are like that could possibly catch some heat. Because right now we live in a very soft, sensitive world where people cannot handle jokes or jabs or, listen, we're supposed to have free speech for a reason. You limit ideas when you limit free speech. When you can't say certain things, you can't say certain ideas, which could potentially help change the world. We need free speech. I am fully supportive of somebody being able to say all the slurs in the world, and you're still entitled to be able to look at that person like they're a fucking idiot or a bigot or a piece of shit. If somebody goes on a rant saying, I hate N-words over and over and over, obviously that's awful. Obviously no black person should have to see that or deal with that. However, should that person that said all those things have the right to say them? Yes, absolutely. And then we all have the right to look at that person as the piece of shit that they are, and then nobody has to pay them any attention anymore. It's beautiful. Like, let people say whatever the fuck they want to say. If they dig their own grave, let them. This guy, Ari Shaffir, some people may know him, some of you may not. When Kobe Bryant died, this comedian, Ari Shaffir, came out and made a video like that damn day, like I want to say an hour after the news broke. He made a video laughing and bragging and thinking it was great that Kobe Bryant died. Meanwhile, you find out, hours later or the day later, Kobe Bryant's daughter was on the helicopter. There was a couple other families with their kids on the helicopter. Like, they all died. Well, this asshole, Ari Shaffir, comes out and makes a video laughing about it and thinking it's hilarious. So I ask you people, do you feel like he should have the right to make that video? Because my opinion is this. Absolutely, he should be able to make that video. And because what happened is, after he made that video, everyone tore him up. The guy basically went into hiding. I haven't heard from him since. Like, I don't know what the fuck he's doing now. He went into hiding. Everyone was like saying, if I see him, I'm going to kill him. If I see him, I'm going to punch him in the face. If I see him, blah, 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 blah. People were eating him up for this. He deserves that because of the insensitive bullshit that he said at that time. Now, this is why I think it's so important to have free speech. He is totally entitled to say the things he said. And if he feels that way, he should absolutely say whatever the fuck he feels like saying. That being said, he should also have to deal with the ramifications of what comes next. And he's doing that right now. Nobody wants anything to do with him. He's not allowed to work. Well, right now, most people can't. He's a comedian. He can't do stand-up comedy anyway, but nobody wants to hear from him. No, he's lost a ton of respect, or people have lost a ton of respect for him. Like, he's fucked himself. Let people do that. I feel like if some white supremacist wants to come out and say, I hate all N-words over and over and over and over, cool, let him say that, let him think that. I don't give a fuck. I don't want nothing to do with him. I'm never going to subscribe to his YouTube channel. I'm never going to be a guest on his podcast. Let people say whatever they want to say so they can deal with the ramifications of what comes next. You should never be policing people's speech. Ever. I don't care what the fuck they have to say. You are entitled to look at somebody after they say something and think that they're a fucking idiot. You don't have to pay them any attention. It's not like See, what I hate seeing is people getting banned for saying certain things. Don't ban them. Just let their audience, they will suffer. People will stop paying attention to them. I don't know listen, I know that there's white supremacists out there that hate black people or hate all colors besides white people, right? I think they're I'm white. I think they're fucking idiots. I think the KKK is stupid as fuck. I think the Black Panthers are stupid. I think any racist group where you think that your color makes you superior in some way, I think you're fucking dumb if you actually believe that. That's weird to me, to think that the shade of your fucking skin color somehow makes you better than anything. It's weird as fuck to me. It doesn't make an ounce of sense. It never has. I never understood racism because for me, I always grew up Christian. I always grew up believing that God made every one of us. So if we are all children of God, then we are all equally his children. So I don't believe that I'm better than any one of you, anybody on earth. I say that a lot, that I don't think you're better than me, and I don't think I'm better than you. I might be more skilled at a certain thing, and you might be more skilled at a certain thing, but that doesn't make you a better person. It doesn't make me a better person. There is no such thing as a better person than somebody. What the fuck does that even mean? What is a better person? A good person? A nice person? A kind person? A skilled person? Like, what the fuck? A tall person? An athletic person? Like, what the fuck does a better person mean? You can't be better than me, and I'm not better than you at being alive. It's fucking retarded. Excuse me for saying that word, by the way. That's another one. I've never said that word, and any of my family knows that when I say that word, I know that it's like insensitive towards, people that have a mental illness. I hate when people that have a mental illness get made fun of. I always have. Even since I was little, my parents taught me that shit was not okay. So when I say that word, you have to understand two things. A, I don't really mean it when it comes to somebody with special needs or special education. I don't mean it towards them. I never have meant it towards them when I've said retarded. When I say retarded, I mean like a person that I see that should know better doing something stupid. But here's the thing. People get offended if they have somebody that they say you're related to, somebody that has special needs or special ed, right? Those people will get offended by the word retarded. And I get it if somebody is calling that person that name. But if you're using the term retard, there's flame retardant things. The word retarded does not mean a person that is, mentally challenged. That's not what that word actually even means. Retardant means it deflects, basically. I don't know the actual definition. I can look it up when I'm done here. But a flame retardant suit deflects the flame. It doesn't allow the flames to penetrate. So retard is not what you think it means. But we've become a society where if you say that somebody is a retard, then somebody looks at it as what is it called? Offensive. Like it's something super offensive, like you're making fun of. And I hate seeing people make fun of somebody that has that's mentally challenged. I hate seeing it. I always have. The problem is that word retarded was acceptable to say up until 2 fucking years ago. And so I always had it in my vocabulary, never in the offensive way that people are going to accuse me of, but in a way meaning, look, dude, I know you're smarter than this, but you're being stupid. So then I would use the word that's retarded. Or if something didn't, if somebody was like, hey, we're going to start doing this, but in turn, it's actually going to screw everything up, then I would say, well, that's retarded. It doesn't mean a mentally challenged person. So we need to be a little more cautious on attacking somebody for using certain words. Now, I would never say that is so N-word, because that word alone is so bad, and there is no good, proper use for it. You know what I mean? Think about it. Even when black people say it to each other, they don't want to be called that. So it's like them saying it to each other. It's really not a proper use of it. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of black people that hate when black people use that term, because you're almost trying to culturally appropriate it. Like it's in hip hop, it's in TV shows, and people are saying it everywhere to each other. It's like, how do you want people to never use the word if the word is constantly being said every day by 30% of the population or whatever? So I don't know. I don't like the word. I don't like saying it. I don't like using it. I don't like the meaning of it or whatever. It's got a lot of bad, connotation to it and all that. But that being said, there are ways that people say stuff that become funny. Like for me, when somebody says God and then damn, I don't like it. I don't like saying it. However, I've seen people say it in movies, and like at the time that they say it, it sounds hilarious to me. And so I'll crack up laughing. But I don't ever go around and say God and then damn right after. I might say God and then the word damn, but I don't do it back to back words. So, but that's just me, and I'm not judging people that do. I know so many people I know do, so I'm not at all judging. I'm just saying I've never really liked it since I was little, so I don't say it. That being said, I've heard people say it, and it's hilarious sometimes the way that they say it. So the same thing goes with the N-word. I've heard black people say the N-word in a certain way where I'm like cracking up because of how they said it. I'm not laughing at the word or like supporting white supremacy just because I laugh at it. You know what I mean? Like people, we got to start using our heads. We've gotten to a point with society that we want to put a sign on everything. We want to dumb down everything. We want to safety-proof everything. So that way people can't get their feelings hurt as well as hurt themselves off of some stupid shit. It's like, I don't know. There's like it's funny to me that you have to put on rat poison. Don't eat this. You should know if it's poison. Now, it's good for a kid. But a kid that's young enough to possibly do something like that probably ain't reading the box anyway. They're probably not reading that it says, do not eat this. And even if they do read that, as a kid, you're like, well, fuck you, I'll do what I want. So it's kind of weird, but I get it. We become a society where you have to safety-proof everything because we have so many idiots in our society that I love common sense. I love logic. You can say and use certain words without it having to be hurtful, but people try to be offended because they want something out of it in return. If I'm angry about this person saying this, then I'm virtuous and that person looks like an asshole, I win. Well, bottom line is nobody's keeping score. Nobody gives a fuck if you're more virtuous than that guy today, because tomorrow you might do something fucked up and then somebody else is in the right and then they think they're virtuous and you're not. Listen, when you start pointing the finger at everyone about how not good of a person they are, you're going to start getting a lot of fingers pointed at you. So don't throw stones if you live in a glass house. But I don't know, folks. That's all the time I got today. I just wanted to put out a post today, or put out a podcast about, the intentions. Why are you posting? If your intentions are good, you don't have to worry about what you're putting out if the intention's good. Now, because somebody's going to misconstrue stuff anyway. You could put out some information just to try to help somebody, and then somebody else is going to comment and then be like, oh, you're just trying to brag about how much you know. So you can't worry about the outcome of what people are going to say. Just make sure your intentions are good. Make sure there's a reason and a purpose and like a goal behind what you're trying to put out in a positive, good way. And then you don't have to worry about anything. Let the chips fall where they may. If somebody wants to accuse you of doing something wrong when you know your intentions are good, well then if your intentions are actually good, you'll have all the facts or the reasons that you need to back up why you did what you did. So it really won't matter what they say in the long term. If the facts are on your side, you will win. So just make sure your intentions are right and you'll be fine. But I got to get going, guys. I love you, and I thank you so much for listening. I'm sorry I took such a long hiatus. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be knocking these out, and I hope everyone is doing good and staying safe and handling everything good in the quarantine days here. So, just stay safe, stay with your families, and if you're bored, fucking get a hobby, dude. Like, we got time. So I love you guys, and I thank you again. If you want to get a hold of me through the leave me a voice message, you can do that through the Anchor app. If you want to get a hold of me on Instagram, it's Really Rich Adam. On Instagram, it's Really Rich Podcast. If you want to get a hold of me on Twitter, it's Really Rich Adam. If you want to get a hold of me on Snapchat or YouTube, it's Really Rich. If you want to get a hold of me on LinkedIn, Adam Rich, founder and host of Really Rich Podcast. And last but certainly not least, if you want to get a hold of me on TikTok, where I've been banging them out lately, get a hold of me on there. It's Adam Rich is the name, all lowercase. It's Adam Rich. And that's about it, guys. I love you and I thank you again. And please, if you want to get a hold of me, comment, like, share, DM, anything that you want. I love talking to people, so I'm happy to do it. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon, all right? Peace! I'm out of here.